Hola.
Hello, guys.
Hi, everyone. We're back once again. Tochi here.
This is Seven.
Period. Today I want to try something a bit different, something a bit out of the usual. Not exactly, lyrics, commentary, or breakdown. So, we want to discuss something a little more social, which is sort of around the social media ban by the UK, the recent social media ban by the UK government. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah.
And I think the UK is like probably the fourth or fifth country that has in the past year brought that
Social media ban for teenagers.
For teenagers under 16 teenagers precisely. It's interesting, but we might have some. Let's get into the whole thing and I know this. I get the intent, but let's sort of unpack and see is this reasonable or is it performative?
Yeah, because I've been having some thoughts about it too, and I liked some parts of the conversations we had earlier about it. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. So it's if I told you if I told you now that say every child under 16 years was banned from say Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube and the likes, right? Is it something as an okay? Let me ask you now, as an adult, what do you think about say social media ban?
Well, as an adult now, I think if I looked at it, I would see some reasons why that makes sense. But as I also thought about if I was a 16-year-old and this is happening, how would I feel about it? Of course, I wouldn't like it, but because as an adult, I see reasons.
I would see reasons as an adult, but also as a 16-year-old, it might be a tough one as well. So, and of course, they're for good reasons, of course. Again, we understand where all of this is stemming from, but we think this entire situation could benefit from some nuance. These companies have become very interesting in their modus operandi, right? Okay. Where it's they now optimize for attention, not education as as you'd expect anymore, not maybe happiness as you'd expect anymore, just actual attention. And with the fact that children to an extent can be impressionable.
Yeah, that is so true, because social media of our time, social media of our time. I mean, you find educative stuff, you find all sorts of stuff on social media, but it's primarily it's optimized for attention. They're always looking for the things, even in the way our feeds and algorithm operates or work, it's always something to grab your attention and make you stay. So I
agree with that, because while we're growing up, right, the internet now compared to now, is it 10 years ago it's no longer the same, right? Now it's just, even as an adult on the internet, sometimes I'm wow, what is going, I think we've had this conversation where you say you're scared for your needs, and it's stems from these things, because when you say you're scared for them, it's not just scared for them based on their immediate environment. There's what they're exposed to online as well.
Exactly, because it actually hits very close to home, because what I think about my nibblings, that's my nieces and nephews.
Nibblings, is that what you call it?
Yeah.
Is that
a term I picked up from a show, actually. But
I love it, nibblings.
People it's people are using it now. So for my nibblings, I think about what they're exposed to on social media, because it's no longer a thing, because social media of our days, take Facebook for example. If you had Facebook, then you just had your classmates, your friends and family on Facebook. Your feed is populated with
people things, for the most part. Or people the access is controlled.
Exactly. There is more control over your feed, what you're exposed to and all that. But these days, the algorithm just pushes things on your feed. Sometimes you don't even intentionally have to
go out for those things. They come to you.
Yeah, they watch you.
Exactly. Watch your every. Pay attention to everything you do. Your patterns.
Yeah.
They pay attention to everything you do, and they just start feeding you this infinite, well of.
Yeah, and sometimes it's not only about what you do. Because sometimes contents can go viral. I mean, the reason contents go viral is because it just has this moment, and then they start pushing it to every. I mean, everybody has to see it.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even if it's something, because I've had moments where, like on my feed, say on Twitter or TikTok, content I wouldn't intentionally search for or look for online, but then I see these things on my feed, and it just makes you wonder why such things come up on your feed. Because, and when you think, this is just, I'm just an example, but for everybody who has like devices and all, you can imagine that it's the same thing that happens for them. So kids are not.
I imagine how worse it now is with all this, the AI slop thing and this brain content. Is that it's gone, even as an adult, sometimes I feel overstimulated. Like I feel like this is too much, like to take in. So I can't even imagine what kids with like less mental development or whatever are having to soak in. As an adult, like it's like some days I intentionally get off social media in general because it just gets too much.
And
it sort of sometimes even warps how you as an adult think and process things. So, and then also to the point of like it has sort of, I can't even imagine how difficult it has sort of made parenting now these days, right? Before in our time, as a parent, you are more, you're a bit maybe you're a bit cautious of like who your kids are around, maybe in school or maybe in your immediate environment. Like to an extent, you can sort of control this thing. But now with this social media exposure, it's like there's now a layer of battle for parents to actually fight when it comes to like say parental guidance and control, right? And so I feel like that burden is I feel like it's a responsibility that both parents and and platforms have to share. But now it's not like parents is like sort of an extra duty for parents, like, oh, you have to and be careful who your kid hang out with in school and around them in the area, and then also social media as well. Without actual regulation, it's concerning, to be honest. It's concerning.
It's true. It's also how like sometimes when you actually look at how features are built, how these products are built, they're usually not built with kids in mind. Because you can see products with actual parental controls and all that, but like when you actually work with these products and like you can find ways to maneuver all of that restriction and all, and you can imagine for today's kids that are actually smarter and all that, it really doesn't help. So parents are, they're just fighting too many things on too many fronts. Because there's just so much you can control when it comes to your child. When they're in the house, of course, you have some level of control, but you don't know what they do out there. If you have control over their phones and all they see, what about your friends' phones? What about what about what they got? So it's a lot, really. They don't have that much control anymore.
But then I struggle in some bits about this entire social media thing because a blanket ban, I don't know how I feel about a blanket ban, because I mean, whilst the intentions are right, you could potentially risk alienating a whole new generation from certain things. Say for instance, now think about the fact that I feel like the DNA of an Instagram and a YouTube are not the same. If you get what I mean.
I totally see
or
that.
A DNA of, let me say a DNA of a TikTok and YouTube. Because for instance, we've seen a lot of people learn, like for instance, I learned my entire design, whatever, on YouTube. Strictly, there's hour-long courses and all that stuff. We've seen a lot of people that have actually built career off of, YouTube, like say code, they're learning how to code, learning the guitar and all that stuff, right? In ways that you don't exactly maybe see on platforms like TikTok, right? So when I was reading this entire UK thing, I saw that even YouTube was a part of the platform that was banned for children, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's a bit too extreme. I feel like okay, just YouTube, Instagram is not exactly the same. YouTube, TikTok is not exactly the same. YouTube, WhatsApp. Now, okay, WhatsApp was not banned, right? But the point is like they're all social media, but I don't think they should be judged on the same level or at the same level. If you ask me correctly, I think just putting all of them as whatever, it's not good practice?
Oh, I agree with you. A blanket ban, it doesn't. I think it's unreasonable. Actually, I think it's unreasonable because social media. When you talk about social media, Instagram, they're all social media platforms, right? But like Instagram is not the same as YouTube, and YouTube is not the same as WhatsApp, and WhatsApp, they all have purposes they're serving, and some of it can be actually beneficial for kids. And because I especially when it comes to education right now, my my nephew prepared for his exams by watching videos on YouTube for how to solve some subjects he was struggling with in maths, and that was really helpful. And he wrote his exam, and he came out with flying colors.
Amazing.
All of that on YouTube. I also was preparing for a cybersecurity exam. I mean, if I was a 16-year-old and I was looking for resources that I can't really find in libraries and all that. The internet.
Yeah, because most of the time these libraries are outdated, and the contents are outdated. The books or the curriculum are usually outdated. So
yeah, so the internet is not all
bad.
Social media,
it's not all bad and everything.
So
and there's also the one of say marginalized groups, right? I see social media as this. Yes, I see social media as this like it's like a sort of community where you find your own tribe, you know, and you feel like, say, when I say marginalized groups, say from maybe disabled people, the LGBTQ community, or you just feel like there's just something about you that you can't maybe find in your immediate environment, right? I feel like social media is a place where you get to, you know, find like minds, right? And sort of build that, you know, that connection, if you get what I mean.
That is so true, because even with how restricted social media was for us in our days, it was a way of finding community outside of what we were exposed
your immediate environment.
Immediate environment. So because I remember the first times I had a mobile phone, and I was able to like go online. I met a community of people who loved to read. I mean, not like I didn't have people who loved to read around me, but like having that community online, finding that community online kind of like made the whole experience I actually felt like I belonged to so I can see how, and then when you talk about marginalized groups like people with disability, that is so important, because if you're taking away social media for groups like that, what is the alternative?
Right. I think it stems from this. I mean, again, like I said, I feel like this entire social media ban thing is something that needs to be thought through, because these people are judging social media from the lens of being just this entertainment, just for entertainment and whatever, right? And of which social media sort of evolved beyond that. It's no longer just for entertainment, whatever. Social media is now like a very like it's part of the social and cultural fabric of society or whatever. So it's not just entertainment for a lot of people.
It's infrastructure.
It's infrastructure, exactly. That's the word, infrastructure, not just entertainment for a lot of people. It's that thing of where before you used to say community, you judge community by kind of people that live around you or whatever. But I think now community has sort of gone beyond that. You can be in Nigeria and then you have your community of people in this thing. Some of the best people I know in my life right now, I met all of them on social media from when I was a teenager, and I like from the artists I supported, stan groups, all that stuff. So it was all from social media, and these are like some of the best people I know now. And so that's what community is. It's no longer just about your immediate environment, right? And like I said, these are people that have also impacted. Like my last magazine, it was the person who gave me the right resource or whatever to print it, blah blah blah. It was based from this community, from stan groups and everything, and we've grown over the years together, over the years, and now we've all grown together into our own, but we kind of still support each other in our personal endeavors. So that's some good there about social media. So social media is not all bad and addiction and doom scrolling and all that, whatever. Nah,
it's true, because when you think about it from that perspective, you see how you're isolating kids from things that can actually benefit them developmentally. Yeah, because community is very important.
Very important
for not just as something for not just as what do I call it? Because we all, apart from home and your immediate community, your physical community and all, we all kind of need that to feel like we belong in the real world in some way, and that is so important for kids who are still like growing up. And I think if we're isolating kids and taking that away from them, it's just gonna have like a very, very negative impact on.
I agree. Because I mean, I don't know if this is something you might relate to, but like, again, this is not to endorse any whatever. But let's be honest. You look at an app like TikTok, right? There's a way TikTok has sort of made, like, even if you feel weird about certain things, there's a way TikTok has made you realize that you're not alone. Like, no matter what you are, or what you feel, like, there's always someone on TikTok that is probably living the kind of life you're living, or has thought what you're like. Do you see where people live on TikTok? Like, I feel like TikTok is one of the most real app. It just sort of paints life in a way like you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
You see levels of wealth or poverty you've never seen it before. You'll be like, wow, I thought that was the whatever. Or you see like ideologies, or like, I feel like TikTok is one of those apps that just, again, this is not to say that it's not to say that it's not an app without flaws, but from a place of how the internet sometimes makes you, is like a place where you feel less weird about yourself. You feel less alone about things because you go on there, you are seeing real life things.
Yeah. Imagine as an adult you can still like relate to it. Then imagine what it's like for kids who are like still like in the developmental stage. Kids who are going through puberty, kids who are learning to, because that stage of life is it's the stage where you're transitioning from like childhood to early adulthood, and us. Like, there's a lot that happens at that point in life. So think about that. I see it.
I see that there's some good there. So that's why, again, I mean, we'll get to that point. So when you think about all these things, it's like the pros and cons are both very valid, right? So it's not like, what should we be thinking? What should we be talking about here? What should be the actual discourse here? Is it banning social media, or is it like maybe thinking of ways to actually redesign products, you know, and like work more closely with these companies, you know, for product to be redesigned in a way that sort of narrows the cons. You get what I mean, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's not maybe to just outrightly ban social media might not be you know, this. Maybe it's like, okay, what's the incentive system, the algorithm, you know, the infinite scroll thing, right? The recommendation engine, all that, you know, the rage, virality, because it's like all that. How can we checkmate those things as opposed to just actually shutting out a whole generation? It's true from, you know, these platforms.
It's true because social media, I mean, the way products are designed now, it's all about like we've said before. I'm a designer,
and a lot of these things that we see on this thing was intentionally designed that way
to grab your attention, to make you engage, engagement optimization. It's even in the ways these products are now being monetized. Engagement is now being monetized and all that. Oh yeah, so it's a lot to actually. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, so like, really, why are we talking about banning children instead of actually, like, why we're not talking about like how do we actually redesign these products in a way that is sort of palatable, at least, okay, maybe for children of 16 years and, you know, below. How do we design for them, that kind of stuff? I think YouTube tries. Again, this is not to endorse any whatever, but YouTube has YouTube for kids, right? And for YouTube for kids, they don't allow comments there. You just watch this thing, and of course the content, not like the content has to be for children, not like the content has to be like for children, but like it has to be safe. Like this video we're making, for instance, we can actually make it for kids, but if we make it for kids, there'll be no comments. Comments will be disabled and all that. So I feel like there are ways you can actually do this. Even Netflix also has Netflix for kids, where it's just the kids one and all the content there is safe and all that stuff. So I feel like it's something that all social media can actually look into, like how are we designing for this demography as opposed to entirely shutting them down. Are we doing this whereby, okay, maybe when you've used, like maybe we'll have social usage limits, like maybe in a day you're only entitled to 2 hours of social, or 1 hour of social media, and after your 1 hour, the app shuts down for your account, for the email, whatever, that kind of stuff. How about that, instead of like just maybe having an open access all through?
I think there should be institutions that actually regulate how these products are, and I think each product should be treated individually. They shouldn't be treated equally, because they're unique in their own ways. And for TikTok, for example, it could be the algorithm, the short form, and all that, infinite feed. It's
for FYP. FYP for you.
So like I think products, I think these social media platforms could be like regulated. I very much think so. Is a better approach to this blanket banning.
I very much think so. I definitely think platforms like TikTok could really benefit from that sort of redesigning and like regulation to an extent. I think Instagram as well, because of course with Instagram, while TikTok gives you reality of things, they there's the infinite feed, whatever, they just keep there's that, right? So to be honest with you, TikTok as an app, of course there's very strong case for restriction and like checkmating, very strong case. In the case of Instagram, for instance, Instagram is that app that it's sort of is it illusion, such that like it makes you feel like life is so glamorous whatever. So definitely that can also be checkmated as well. If you ask me, Instagram sort of fosters a level of social comparison, for being honest, right? And all that stuff. So flashiness, aesthetics.
I'm not gonna mention platforms, but I think there are like some platforms. Not like I mean this is something you see. Some platforms are actually very toxic for kids to be on. I'm not gonna mention names, but like some platforms are known to, like, when you talk about, because of the kind of content they promote on these platforms, you go there and you see, you start to, some people go on this platform and like develop dysmorphia, for example, body dysmorphia, for example. They start this comparing, because you go on there and you think life is all, like what you said, life is all glamorous on the other side, and like you start to compare your own life. And also it's the thing of how some of these platforms also restrict, or they choose what they want to promote and what they want to restrict. So it's not always, you don't always find the truth on them. Because there's this, propaganda, I don't know, sometimes they used to push propaganda. In our days, it was hard to hear of kids getting radicalized from social media, but this is something you hear like a lot of the time these days. So I think I'm not gonna mention names platform here, but like
some of these platforms can actually like benefit from that level of restriction. I mean, not also exempting YouTube, although like I'll make a very strong case for YouTube, in that like YouTube is like, it's popularly called the world's biggest university or something, and I agree with that. I would agree with that. So of course YouTube is very debatable, and then when they say WhatsApp is not part of it, and I'm like, I mean, I get their point, but like, who says you can't get horrific experience? Who says that kids can't get unpalatable experience on WhatsApp as well? Have you met WhatsApp group chats? Like, have you met WhatsApp group chats? The bullying, exclude. Like, I have been a victim. Like, even much younger, I've been a victim of like that WhatsApp group chats brutality.
Have you ever stayed and a random number just texts you up
God bless you.
That happens.
That happens.
It could happen to kids too.
A lot.
Yeah. So
a lot. So
while they're exempting WhatsApp, I think
they should all bond with them when it comes to the regulation and like just redesigning this thing, because now when you say you're banning all of those things and leaving WhatsApp, you're just basically telling, okay, it's fine, let's strategize and do whatever on WhatsApp. So I just think WhatsApp shouldn't be exempted. So really, in a nutshell, I just think banning social media for kids under 16 is just it's a bit harsh, and I think it sounds performative to me. But I really feel like if you really care so much about like the impact of social media on underage kids, there are way more practical ways to go about things as opposed to just alienating a whole demographic. I feel like it's very performative. I'm sorry.
Yeah, what you said about being practical. What you said about being practical, because I think a blanket ban it's impractical actually.
It's too woke.
Yeah, and then I think they're also forgetting that we live in a very smart world. Like, kids are smart.
Yeah,
kids are smart. Actually, if you want to do a blanket ban for let's talk about how kids can go to clubs and they have like fake IDs and can go to. If they can do that, what makes you think they can bypass?
I think in Australia, kids are actually bypassing the ban thing, and in the UK is saying that they're saying that kids are bypassing that in Australia, but they in the UK are going to make it more stringent, such that it's almost impossible to. I'm like, you bet.
And so I want to bring in something here about. So there was a paper I read about the legalization of cannabis, for example, and how, like, before it was legalized in the US, it was this thing where it was a problem. They'll find people who like were growing these things, and like it was always a problem for law enforcement and all that. But the moment from when it was legalized and all, the problem reduced. People no longer, it kind of like lost its allure. So because people wanted to, you find like people want to do most things just because they want to be rebels. Like, they want to like go against something.
So against the grain.
So I think a blanket ban it's going to have like a counter effect. A counter, what's the word here?
A counter yeah, I got your point. It's going to be counterproductive.
It's going to be counterproductive. So instead, we could regulate features. Instead of
there are features that ought to be regulated.
So in a way where it doesn't feel like these kids are being like shunned or like isolated.
That's true. Because really, let me tell you, banning social media doesn't make kids like, because according to them, they said they want to give kids back their lives so they can concentrate on other things. And like, even when we're kids, there was no social media. We had other distractions, movies and other whatever. So banning social media will not automatically change the world for children. I'm sorry, but maybe regulating certain features like infinite scroll, for minors, like autoplay, public live streams. That's also a very huge. I don't want to call the app name, but we know the apps where live stream has become this madness. Those things can be regulated, right?
Algorithmic recommendations. I hate that so much.
Come on. So like, these are features that we could actually look into banning. Stranger messaging, and minors. That's also those are things. Overnight notifications. Like I said, either you maybe put time limits on the app, or maybe after this particular time, the kids have no access, to their account. That I feel like that way, even as kids, it's more reasonable for me as a kid that way than just outrightly shutting me out. Shutting me out to make me more of a rebel even than when you regulate things and then you can know, okay, at this time this app is gonna this thing, and then when you now go out of your way to now try to bypass, that's when I feel like it now becomes a very grievous offense. If you get what I mean.
I'm thinking there's I don't know if this is because you have to also think about how you want to even do that, how you want to enforce the regulation of features for kids. And I'm thinking how do you even want to do that?
There are ways to do that.
Do we start making kids register for social media with their IDs?
Yeah, IDs. Yeah, there's that. I mean, look at banks do it.
Yeah, true.
Banks do it, and with bank, you protect your you protect things, you protect information, so banks do it. So I feel like if banks do it, there's no reason why social media platforms can't do it, because now social media is no longer a site, like it's not a part of our actual, like social media is basically our actual lives right now. So there's no reason why we shouldn't take such measures. Banks do it, whereby as a bank, with bank, as a under 16-year-old, you can't just come and open an account like that. There's a kids account for you, and with your features and all that stuff. So if you start thinking about these things the way banks and financial institutions do, maybe would actually inch closer to something reasonable.
I think so too, because I mentioned earlier that if for example, if you're in a household and you're banning social media for your kids, you don't know what they go out there to see. So if there's this, if it's this thing that is now institutional, where like for all underage kids, it's you have to register with your IDs, then you can worry less about what your kid is going out there, because if they're meeting other 16-year-olds, other 12-year-olds, they all kind of like have the same the same or similar things they're exposed to, and like so I really think like the government, of course, is of course they're writing, they're asking the right questions, and we're thankful for that and everything, but we just think the approach might not be the solution that they think it is. This particular approach might not be the solution that they think it is. So I think like it's something that they could sort of still rethink. Because let's say in the US, for instance, the US had this situation with TikTok sometime last year. I can't remember what the situation was about, but the point is like these things are possible, and like I think TikTok had to change their business formation, or how their business actually for the US and everything. So I believe if these are things that is like, if it's really, if the government is really about, what they claim to be about, I feel like there are actual ways to, to tackle this, as opposed to just ban it. Like, come on, it's not, Yeah. So I think I agree with you. They're starting to ask the right questions, and the approach is what can be. It should be refined. I don't think it's impractical, the current approach they're taking, but I think they could actually look into the problem and
in a more realistic way. I feel like this approach is a bit again, it just reads performative to me. I'm sorry, I can't help but think that way. But I think we've sort of given this entire thing a balanced view. Not to say social media doesn't have its downside, but also has its good side as well. And also, like, I'm just sort of maybe just to highlight some takeaways from this, because I really love the conversation we've had here. Social media is also not like this side thing anymore. It's not like an actual part of our daily life, right? And I will not sit down here and act all righteous, because hey, I'm not a 16-year-old anymore. But I know that I feel like a lot of these people are sort of judging social media from the lens of what they knew it to be when maybe they were 16, right? And it's not like that now. Social media is a lot more ingrained in our personal life, in the social, cultural fabric of the world, So alienating an entire generation is not probably the right solution. It's more about what are we checkmating, right? So I like that we also highlighted that you think about social media just from a lens of entertainment, and it's not always the case, right? People have built careers off of social media. People have built expertise off of just social media. Social media, like I said, it's a very huge part of social and culture right now. Like I said, I am a designer today because of social media, which is YouTube. I learned everything I learned about design on YouTube strictly, and I was much younger then. So imagine I didn't have that access.
I also think this conversation isn't really
sorry. We've seen a lot of Justin Bieber was a YouTube sensation.
Oh yeah, true.
Shawn Mendes, Tate McRae, there's been a lot of good that comes out of social media, right?
A lot of these celebrities had their big breaks on social media. Like I knew Okay, yeah.
A lot of them actually. When you think
Yeah.
about it, a lot of them. So it's not to say that it doesn't have its cons. Of course, it does have its
It
cons,
does have
but
its cons,
we should be
yeah.
very careful how we process these things. Also, to add, like we said, to marginalized groups as well. Social media is not just social media.
Also, I think this conversation isn't really about children, because if we think social media is psychologically manipulative for children, then what about why do we think it's safe for us as adults? Why do we think it's acceptable for us? I think we should ask questions like that.
Yeah.
Actually.
So really, if
Because-
you really care, you focus on the features, because really that's true. If you think that these things are dangerous for children and everything, right? What makes you think once you turn 17, it's okay
Yeah.
for you? Like yeah, what do you
Yeah.
like? So
Yeah.
So I think we're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is, like I said, even as an adult, sometimes I feel overstimulated.
Yeah.
I feel like this is too much. I got to take some time off. It's just too much, right? So
Yeah.
So what makes you think that you're banning social media for under 16-year-old kids? Or what makes you think that once you turn 17, it's actually okay for you to start consuming all those things?
Yeah. So yeah, they're in the right direction. They're asking the right questions, like I said. But yeah, we should actually look at this thing more.
More intricately
Yeah.
and more realistically, and not just trying to be sort of sensationalist
It's,
or like
it's really about us.
Yeah.
Children are just the first set to
yeah.
be protected. So like,
Because
it's
really, yeah, true. That's actually very correct, because whilst they are children that are impressionable, they're still older people that are impressionable as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe not even people in the maybe baby boomers, like maybe people in their 60s, 70s that also are impressionable as well.
Yeah, we're talking about children. Then what about our aged parents?
Do you understand?
Yeah, who are like somehow new to technology and
Exactly.
yeah. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that, really. So
because I can tell you about my grandmom, who like sees a lot online, and like she actually, there's a way she sees content online. I actually believe social media has a way of like
come on. So really,
redirecting her whole
not just children here. It's really, if we have to make social media safe, we have to make it safe for all.
Yeah.
And not an under 16 thing and whatever, unless the government is not being honest about what their actual motive is, you know. But if we have to make social media safe, we have to make it safe for all. And it's not just under 16. Once you're 17 years old, then you can now be exposed to all the BS now.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I really hope you loved this one. And we really had fun going over it.
Yeah.
I think I would like us to do more of this.
I think I'd like to. Yeah,
it's sort of intellectual. I've never sort of thought about things like this. You know,
Yeah,
you read these headlines and you're like, yeah, ban social media, ban it, ban it, ban it. But when you start sitting down and start, peeling the layers, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I think generally I'm always a firm believer of I never see things in black and white, right?
Me too.
When the whole thing happened, the whole social media thing, I don't know if you saw some tweets, like some people were like, yeah, ban it, blah blah blah. While I want to maybe be that person, I'm kind of the person to be like, okay, maybe let me give this some thoughts after a few days, right?
Yeah, because I saw people's reason for wanting social media to be banned for kids, but they weren't really thinking in the direction of all the
holistically, yeah.
So
holistically, and then also everybody will speak based on their level of exposure and what personal bias as well, right?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, it's not everybody that not everybody would have the initiative to think about this thing from, say, a marginalized group perspective, right?
True.
If you're not a marginalized group, right, you will not maybe think about it. It's easy for you to say ban it, blah blah blah. But if you've not had lived experiences where social media sort of came true for you in very unconventional ways,
so true.
that is not talked about enough, right, by the average person, it's very easy to say ban. But yeah. So yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate you once again, and please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And yeah, we'll be back with another lyric breakdown very soon. Guess the song that we're about to do. I'm so excited about that one.
Oh my god.
All right then, thank you so much. See you.
Ciao ciao.